Need a winter holiday escape? Forget your cares in Fiji. White sand beaches and scuba diving are calling. Your tropical paradise getaway is just one nonstop Fiji Airways flight away. With round-trip fares starting at $899 from LAX or SFO. Or check out great fares to Australia and New Zealand with seamless connections via Fiji. Book now at FijiAirways.com. From here to happiness, flying direct with Fiji Airways.
Get great holiday savings with digital coupons at Safeway. This week at Safeway, get bone-in USDA choice beef ribeye roast for $5.97 per pound with digital coupon. Limit one while supplies last. Plus, get large gold pineapple for just 97 cents each with digital coupon. Limit one. Also this week at Safeway, get bone-in signature select classic ham, shank half or whole for only 87 cents per pound with digital coupon. Limit 2 items. Visit Safeway.com or head in store for more deals.
Well, hello, my paranormal peeps, and welcome back to another Deep Woods Paranormal Podcast. My name is Matt Harvey. I am the founder and lead investigator with Deep Woods Paranormal. My wife and I, along with others, investigate everything paranormal in nature. Every week, we will discuss everything from creepy haunted locations to ghosts to Bigfoot, UFOs, Dogman, and other cryptid creatures, and explore all things paranormal in nature. So today, guys, we have John West on us. John West with us. He comes all the way from England. He's the writer of the resident ghost hunter for Psychic and News magazine. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. He's also an author and a medium, which is cool. He's explored all of England, which I'm very jealous about. I've always wanted to go over there and investigate. So, anyways, John West, welcome to the Deep Woods Paranormal Podcast, and thanks for coming on with us.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about the magazine. What do you do for the magazine?
Well, Psychic News has been going since the 1930s, and I write for them every month, basically mainly British ghost stories, ranging from the Tower of London to a haunted church in York to vampires, things like that. So I think I've been writing from now for over 10 years. It's a long time, but I enjoy it.
Crazy. Yeah, I mean, England has so much history. Do you just stay in England, or are you able to travel throughout Europe too?
I haven't actually been to Europe that many times. I've been to Denmark and Spain, so I hope to get abroad more with the film work and stuff. I work with a director called Jason Figgis, and we hope to come to America to do a few things. But it's mainly the UK, but I've travelled all over the UK, from Scotland to Wales, visiting haunted locations and just generally our history, whether it's Stonehenge to Hadrian's Wall to a medieval castle.
So what's your take on Stonehenge? Who do you think made it?
Oh, well, it was a sort of prehistoric man. I don't believe it was aliens. I think, we were quite capable of erecting it. I mean, obviously, people have gone there and have felt things, and people have used dowsing rods and picked up energy. So perhaps there were sort of energies generated there from the worship, but I haven't got a clue really what it was used for. Perhaps religious ceremonies, things like that. I mean, someone insisted it was a landform for UFOs, but I don't know about that.
Yeah. Well, I've heard a little bit about it. Supposedly it was erected in such a way it matches stars and stuff like that. And also they used it kind of as a calendar, from what I understand. So
yes,
I don't know if that's true or not. I just saw it on TV, so you never know what's real on TV and not.
Well, they believe it was used for plotting the course of the sun and stars and things like that, and it may have been a temple, and there are burials there as well. But I mean, it's still a mystery. We're never really going to know what it was actually used for. But it does seem to match up, as you said, with the stars and things like that. It was a very learned book in the 70s. I can't remember the title of it now, and he claimed it was basically like an observatory for observing the passage of the heavens. And of course, the legend is that Merlin erected it and levitated the stones there. Although, interestingly enough, the legend was that it was a stone circle brought from outside the area, and they actually did find out that the blue stones came from Wales. So there was some truth in that the stones had been brought a long way. Imagine the technology back then wasn't great, and yet they managed to bring all these stones from Wales for some weird reason when they had stones nearby. So there was obviously something about these blue stones that attracted prehistoric man and woman, of course.
Yeah, definitely. Must be ships or something. I mean, it's just like the Egyptians, how do they build the pyramids? they get those heavy stones across
Okay.
that. I mean, that's a long way to go. England to
I
England.
know. I mean, but the Inca ruins and things like that, the size of the stones. I mean,
Mhm.
again, I mean, archaeologists have theories of how the pyramids were constructed, and whether it was, I mean, again, the people claim aliens out of hand. I don't know. I mean, I've read Eric von Daniken's books and stuff, and it's quite interesting. And again, the pyramids seem to line up, don't they, with the constellation of Orion?
Mhm.
So who knows? Who knows? It's interesting stuff. I mean, it's certainly bits and bobs that they found in the past that don't sort of fit in with our established view of history, like finding a gold chain in a lump of coal or a footprint that's trodden on a trilobite and it's it's fossilized. So who knows? And the Baghdad battery as well, which was an electric battery. So yeah, I think we don't know half of it, and it's like Atlantis, and I believe there probably was a civilization called Atlantis. Whether it was at the South Pole, as Colin Wilson believed, the author, who I was actually was involved in a documentary about his life. He did a lot of books on ghosts and stuff. So it's interesting. I love the paranormal, I love the occult, interested in mysteries, and it's just fascinating.
Awesome. Yeah, we've been Amanda and I, my wife Amanda and I have been researching the paranormal since we started dating back in high school. But what would you say is your favorite place to investigate? If you could go back to any place you've been, where would you go?
For ghosts or any particular,
It doesn't matter.
I mean,
This is a paranormal channel, so you can talk about Loch Ness, you can talk about anything, you know.
oh well, Loch Ness is a very interesting place. I mean, I've never actually been there. My dad went there and claimed to have seen a Loch Ness monster, and I think he was pulling me leg. But I've read so many books about it. I must get up there at some point. Clearly, they're seeing something.
Hmm.
The people that have gone up there, they're not all lying. But I mean, naturalists have studied the loch and claim that there's not enough fish to sustain a population. But there again, someone said to me, is it a ghost of a prehistoric monster that people have seen, or is it from a parallel universe that suddenly appeared briefly in the loch? There's clearly something there, and I mean, as there was, it goes back to sort of, I think the Saint Columba claimed to have seen a monster there, or in the River Ness at least. And so yeah, it's very interesting. There's too many sightings. Which will all be a load of rubbish, to be honest. So I also would love to investigate the Tower of London. I know they don't really let you do that, sort of, for ghosts and that, but that's
Yeah,
very, very haunted,
a lot of
and I'd love to
bad things happen
investigate
there.
that. Yeah, I've been there a few times. I must admit, I've never picked up anything when I've gone around there. But so many people have, experiencing, seen things, and this is going back centuries as well. These ghost stories. That is another place I'd love to go to, and I'd love to sort of investigate the Sasquatch, Bigfoot. And I think that's very interesting. And again, I think there's obviously something there. Too many people have seen whatever it is, whether it's an ape man. There again, there's these weird stories about it being associated with UFOs. Who knows? And of course, there's the Yeti as well, and Atlantis. I've mentioned that. So there's loads and loads of things, but that's just some of my favourites that I'd love to investigate. I'd
Yeah.
like to meet the Sasquatch though, because he might be a bit aggressive. I don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've had 40 or 50 sightings myself. I've had tons of encounters. I've been in the right place at the right time. A lot of it's been luck. I've been in the right, we had a client that had Bigfoot on his property. And so, like, middle of the day, I'm looking up, I'm going, wait, what's that? And the client's sitting next to me at a bench, and we're looking up his property. It's like 55 acres. He's right in the middle of the forest. And there's a road that goes up to one side, and another road goes up the other side. And there's something standing in the middle of the road. And it's literally like this, sideways, with the upper torso turned towards us because they can't really turn their heads. And this
Yes.
thing is just standing there, black, solid black. And I'm like, is there supposed to be a tree there? And he's like, no. It looked just like a tree. I'm like, where did that tree come from? I knew it wasn't supposed to be there. And so I start zooming in on him with a binocular. I could see the mouth, I could see the eyes. It was interesting, and it was just solid black. This thing was black and probably pushing 14 feet tall. And it was just standing there. It realized that we looked up right as it was walking across the road. And,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean,
Get great holiday savings with digital coupons at Safeway. This week at Safeway, get bone-in USDA choice beef ribeye roast for $5.97 per pound with digital coupon. Limit one while supplies last. Plus, get large gold pineapple for just 97 cents each with digital coupon. Limit one. Also this week at Safeway, get bone-in signature select classic ham, shank half or whole for only 87 cents per pound with digital coupon. Limit 2 items. Visit Safeway.com or head in store for more deals.
Calling all hunters and outdoor enthusiasts. It's time to discover the difference with Alpin Optics. When it comes to premium optics, Alpin is where form meets function. Their state-of-the-art devices are built for those with the highest demands. As dedicated hunting enthusiasts and nature observers, Alpin understands that you need 100% reliability when out in the wild. With Alpin, you won't have to compromise. Whether you're stalking, night hunting, or observing wildlife, Alpin Optics offer top-class materials and cutting-edge technology that keeps you in control, no matter the conditions. And here's the best part. Use promo code EXPLORE15 and get a fantastic 15% off your Alpin Optics purchase. So visit alpinoptics.com today and experience the wild like never before. Don't lose track. Get a 15% discount with the code EXPLORE15 at alpinoptics.com. Alpin Optics. Discover the difference.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
In the middle of the night, I was sleeping in his camper, his travel camper, and looking out, and we were in the middle of a severe storm, and we couldn't go out. It was like tornadoes around us and stuff like that, and just pouring. So much so that wouldn't have worked anyways. The camera gear wouldn't have worked or anything. But I'm laying in there, and this flash of lightning comes out, and in between the trees, which were only about 20 feet from where his trailer was, there's this Bigfoot just standing there, water dripping off the fur. I'm like, oh, okay. And this lightning was so bright, it was like somebody turned on the lights. It was crazy. And it's just standing there staring at the trailer. I'm like, oh, okay. Because he had complained a lot that they were always, basically messing with his trailer and knocking on there and pushing it around and looking through windows. And this one was only about, 6 to 7 feet tall. I think it was a juvenile, but I don't think it saw me either. And so then there was another flash of lightning, and this only lasted for like 2 seconds. And then there was another flash of lightning. It was gone. I'm like, oh, okay. We went out immediately in the morning, and there was no tracks, because out here in Texas, there's all this deadfall from all the trees. This side of Texas, east side of Texas, if you cut Texas in half, it's all forest. And so with all the deadfall, it creates, this like sponge. That's great for the trees, but it's really hard to try and find prints or anything, because it's just like walking on a sponge. It just goes down, comes right back up, doesn't leave a lot of prints. But we did find a 24-inch footprint on his property. That's a big boy.
Did you get a plaster cast of it?
What's that?
Did you get a plaster cast of the footprint?
No, it was wet. It had just rained. And so it was literally in the mud, and there was like a little puddle of water in it. And I'm like, I tried to pour some of it in there, and it just went everywhere. It just thinned out on me. So I'm like, okay. And I'm like, this is just going to come apart. Yeah. So anyways, but we're actively researching Bigfoot right now. We have a lot of different clients that are showing us different new locations, and it's like we've opened up that door finally. And so a lot of people are coming forward, and that's what we're basically researching. But
so what is your opinion of Bigfoot? Do you believe it's like the missing link, or is it some unknown form of ape, or is it something connected with UFOs? Because I've come across cases where it's been seen in conjunction with a UFO in the sky, appearing in the sky and things like that. So what's your view of what?
There's a lot of different opinions. My opinion is I think they're a living, breathing creature. I don't think they're some kind of alien. Now, that doesn't mean they couldn't have been here already and, go down this rabbit hole, and that maybe man came here after they were already here, supposedly. I've heard stories, somebody telling me that, aliens dropped us off here and we're mixing our DNA with theirs and stuff like that to create some kind of species to be a slave for them and stuff like that. But I think honestly, I think they might be like a cross between Gigantopithecus and a human. Maybe Gigantopithecus and human maybe breeded at one point. I think there's a lot of different species because I've seen red ones, I've seen black ones, I've seen brown ones, I've seen tan ones, and I've seen a gray one. But I think that I used to think that maybe the more I research it, the more questions I have. But I've heard that basically they go gray during the winter because then their fur blends in better with the environment. And somebody I just was listening to the other day said that they actually got a big clump of hair and they started going through it and they could tell it was a Bigfoot hair because it didn't match any other animal. And it has like blues and reds and oranges and purples and different things in it. And they say it's almost like a polar bear. A polar bear looks like it's white, but its fur is clear. So they're saying that the way they're staying cloaked or not being seen as easily is by basically if they stand next to something, their fur takes that color on. So essentially it's almost like a camo. They become almost like a chameleon and, kind of take on that color of whatever the objects are around them. So I don't know. That's an interesting theory. Again, this is all just theory, but it's just really interesting to me. Like I said, the more I research them, they seem to be extremely smart, in my opinion. But they seem like they know to avoid us. And I've had a lot of close encounters. I've had close encounter where I was a couple feet away from one, which scared the living bejesus out of me. When you look over this giant gorilla squatted down that's as tall as you, watching you walk by, that's pretty damn creepy. And so
they're not aggressive then, basically. They're not sort of they're actually quite shy, as you said, and
they can be aggressive. Yeah, they can be aggressive. They chased me out after my sighting. Essentially what happened was I was up there doing ghost hunting at a location, up in the mountains where it was said to be haunted, and was doing EVP work and stuff like that. And I heard some growling coming from one side of the road. And this is just basically a fire access road. This is out in California. Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, it's a mountain lion. Not thinking it's Bigfoot. Do my EVP session up where an old mine was, where I know people have died. And all of a sudden I look out in the bush behind where I'm, the barbed wire fence I'm standing by starts going back and forth. And there's, I'm like, what the hell is that? This lasted 40 seconds and it was dark. So it's almost pitch black, but I could actually see it. My night vision had adjusted and I'm sitting there with a handy cam and a bunch of IR light on it, and they couldn't see that far. It was 20, 30 feet away. And so then this encounter went on for like a minute or two, and then finally it just darted this way. And I saw it run. I'm like, okay, I see you, and I got you on camera. I was all excited. So I turned my camera off, turned the audio recorder off, which was my biggest mistake, and we'll never do that again. So I'm like, okay, I got a Bigfoot on camera. I'm all excited. I'm like, I'm going to get back to my car, get home, see if I can see what I can see. And so I get about 100 yards down the road and come around a corner, and this Bigfoot's just up on this bank, and it's literally creeped down, crouched down, and it's sitting there just watching me walk by. And I was literally like a couple feet away. I mean, I could have reached out and grabbed this thing, or it could have grabbed me easily. And it didn't do anything. I just saw two red eyes. I'm like, I kind of went like this and went, oh crap. I'm pretty sure I got about 5 or 6 steps, and I'm like, I got to stop. I got to turn around. I turned around, it was gone. And it's like, oh, geez, come on. No noise, just gone. And then, of course, I turned back around. There's a freaking shadow person standing right in front of me, which almost gave me a heart attack. But yeah, so I started laughing. I'm like, okay, you got me. So I start walking down because I call that Shadowland. Essentially, there was a lot of shadows in that area. They would dart back and forth across the road. I think there are old miners that passed away in that area. And there's a lot of deaths that happened up there. So essentially get back to my, start heading back to my car, and all of a sudden I hear snap, crunch, like something's large, like a giant animal, like an elephant is like trudging through the brush above me. And there was multiple of them. And so I was about a mile from my car. I made it back pretty damn quick. I never felt. Yeah, it took me 3 months to go back up after that into that area, but that was a place called Black Star Canyon out in Orange County. Oh my God! But I could feel them after that. I could see them. I documented, their eye shine with the handycam, which was not very good. If I had a better camera, I probably could have gotten some crazy evidence. But
I know. Yeah. It's like that Bluff Creek film, isn't it? The famous one from the 1960s. And experts have examined it and said it's definitely not a person in a suit, because the way the creature's walking would be physically impossible for a human being.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that is pretty impressive. I know people try to make out it was a fake, but with computer technology, they've analysed it, and I mean, I'm convinced that it's genuine.
Yeah.
And it was a female as well, wasn't it? Was it a female?
Yes. There was a female, and there actually was a male further up. There's more to the film. There's like 3 minutes of film actually that he actually shot, where he was watching Patty kind of walk up through the rocks and then disappear, but he panned to the left, and you see something up in the tree line too. So basically, it was just watching them watch her. And I think if they probably would have gone across the creek, I don't know what would happen. He probably would have gotten attacked, more than likely. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was carrying. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure he was carrying like a little 6-shooter or something. That would have made a big difference against a giant animal like that. But I've heard somebody tell me one time that they had him on their property. I think they were from Kansas or something. They were just down here, and we were telling Bigfoot stories, and they shot it. They shot a Bigfoot with a shotgun, with what was it, birdshot, and birdshot has just all those little pellets inside of it, so it just basically splatters everywhere to try and knock a bird out of the air. And this thing, it just went right into the fur, no blood or anything. This thing got upset with him. Let's just put it that way. I'll say, and chased him back into his house. But yeah, I mean, you gotta be so careful with these things. I mean, I know a lot of people that gift them. I mean, they'll take food out and leave it out, and the Bigfoot will come by. And I was talking to a guy that he had a witness that every day she would go out there and put a pancake on a paper plate and leave it way down, by her lake. And sure enough, there's this really distant footage that she shot with her, I think it was cell phone. And you see this Bigfoot come walking up, grab the plate, and walk back into the forest. But every day, same time, she'd do the same thing. And so they left a trap cam out there. And unfortunately, it saw it. You can't leave a trap cam down 7-8 feet in the air. You have to put it way the heck up, up in the air and angle it down. It's one of our clients taught us. And so otherwise you'll just.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Yeah, you won't get anything. They can hear it. They can see it. I have pictures of what I believe is a Bigfoot standing in front of a trail cam, watching a deer. You just see his head and like his shoulders. It's just black. I can't prove it's Bigfoot, and then all of a sudden you see it move. The deer moved and it moved, and stuff like that. So that's on my friend's property. But yeah, just insane. Anyway, Yeah. Enough about us. So, yeah. So you've what's the coolest location you've ever been to?
Coolest location for ghosts. I would say probably York. Because in my second book on ghosts, which is called Britain's Ghostly Heritage, there's a chapter in there. And York is a very ancient city. It was founded by the Romans, the Ninth Legion, and it was called Eboracum. And the Ninth Legion is a very famous Roman legion because it disappeared without trace. They believe it may have been destroyed in a battle in what is now Scotland. It was then Caledonia. And because of that, Hadrian, the famous Emperor Hadrian, who's back there, a bust of him, built Hadrian's Wall to keep out the barbarians. But there's so many ghost stories there. It's I mean, York Minster, you've got the castle, you've got Holy Trinity Church, which was badly haunted in the 19th century. People kept seeing the figure of a woman and another woman and a baby on a window. And even though there were people standing outside, they couldn't see anyone outside to account for it. Castle Museum is haunted. Dick Turpin, famous English highwayman, supposed to haunt the area. And it's just full of ghosts. And nearby is Marston Moor, which was a famous English Civil War battle, and that is supposed to be very badly haunted. It was one of the battles where a very famous Englishman, Oliver Cromwell, fought as a commander, and he later became Lord Protector of Britain, the first commoner to ever be head of state, because we actually went down the Republican route for 11 years. We beat the Americans, and then we went back to the monarchy in 1660. But so I love York. It's a really beautiful city, full of history. If any of your viewers ever come to the UK, get to York because it's wonderful. I mean, they've even got like a railway museum there, which I've been round, and that's supposed to be haunted. The old steam engines, people have claimed to have seen figures standing on the, inside the trains, inside the old carriages. They re-erected an old bridge that originally went over a railway line, and apparently people have seen a figure standing on that. And apparently the story is that someone committed suicide, threw themselves off this bridge in front of a train. So apparently they've never been able to move on. There's an interesting case in the Minster where someone was admiring some stonework, and a chap standing next to him and said, "I did that." And he turned around and he was dressed as a medieval man and then vanished.
Oh,
and
wow.
The most famous, and it's just boom, gone. The most famous York haunting is the Roman soldiers in the Treasurer's house. And that was a chap called Harry Martindale in the 1950s. And he was an apprentice plumber. And the Treasurer's house is open to the public, by the way. It's owned by the National Trust, so you can go there. And he was working in the cellar. Nothing happened on the first day. And he was working on the wall. And he didn't realise, but the archaeologists had uncovered part of an old Roman road. And he rested his ladder on this Roman road. And it was in a pit. And he heard a trumpet blast, and he assumed, it was from outside, or perhaps the radio, or someone was playing a record. And all of a sudden, these Roman soldiers and the Roman on horseback came through the cellar wall in front of him, totally solid. But he couldn't see the complete figures, only from the knees up until they reached this area of the Roman road. And he was so terror-stricken that he fell off his ladder, crawled into the corner. But these soldiers didn't react to him, and they just carried on walking. And then eventually vanished. He legged it, rushed upstairs, and the chap in charge of the Treasurer's house said, "Oh, by the look of you, you've seen the Roman ghosts." And I think Harry Martindale swore a little bit and said, "Well, if he told me about it, I wouldn't have gone down there." But the interesting thing, the interesting thing is that with the uniforms, the way he described it with the round shields. Now, in the 1950s, everyone had this set vision of a Roman soldier, a bit like Charlton Heston, clean cut. Red uniforms, rectangular shields, very tall. These were totally different to the established image at the time. They were wearing green uniforms. They were short. They were dishevelled. Didn't look like sort of Charlton Heston, basically. And round shields and that. So, and he stuck to his story. He kept quiet about it for years. And then he told some friends in the 70s, and they tipped off the press. And it became global. And archaeologists looked into it, and they said, well, yeah, actually, Roman soldiers did dress like that in the later Roman Empire, or they might have even been auxiliaries. These were sort of Romans, they weren't Roman citizens, but they were from the conquered territories who had joined the Roman army, and their uniforms are different. And when their 25 years of service was up, they became Roman citizens. And the theory is perhaps they were even the Ninth Legion. Who knows, remnants of the Ninth Legion coming back, or perhaps they were the last Romans to leave the Roman town and fort of York in the last days of the Roman Empire in Britain. And perhaps that's why their image was imprinted in that area, and it was just played back for him. I don't believe they're actually conscious spirits or entities. I just believe they're recordings because they didn't react to him. Although he could hear them, he could hear murmuring, but obviously he couldn't understand what they were saying.
Yeah, sounds like it was residual, but that's still crazy. Imagine you get up on a ladder and all of a sudden all these soldiers are coming towards you. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
oh, I'd love to see that. I'd love to say. The thing is, as well, after that came out, it turned out that another woman, a woman in the 1950s, had also seen the Roman soldiers in the treasurer's house. She'd seen them on several occasions, and dogs had also reacted badly, so they'd obviously seen them. And I did a little bit of research, and it was supposed to be an academic in the 40s who saw them. And in the 1920s, when it was still a private house, the treasurer's house, they held a party there, and a woman complained to the host that someone dressed as a Roman soldier had barred her way. And she got a bit annoyed about it. He said, "Was no one dressed as a Roman soldier?" So it went back at least to the 1920s. But since the 50s, nothing's ever been seen. I've been in the cellar. I felt nothing. I've asked other people if they felt anything who've been there. Nothing. Now, they did alter the cellar. And as you will know as an investigator yourself, that sometimes if you alter the fabric of a building, it can erase a haunting or increase it. And I think in this case, for some reason, whatever work they changed the cellar ceiling, I believe it was originally curved and they changed it to a flat ceiling, it erased a haunting for some reason. Although that later stonework was medieval, perhaps it incorporated Roman stone from that period. I don't know, but I have not found anyone who's seen those soldiers since Harry Martindale and this woman in the 1950s.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's why I love you all.
Yeah, it's very interesting how it just stopped. Usually when you have paranormal activity like that, residual just plays and plays and plays no matter what. Yeah, it sounds like it had some intelligence too. So that's interesting. All right, well, tell us about your books. Sounds like you got some very interesting books that you've written.
Yes, well, my first one was called Britain's Haunted Heritage, and that was published, I think it was 2019. And basically all stories from across the UK. And I just decided I wanted to do I've always loved being interested in ghosts since I was a kid. And I wanted to write a book on ghosts. So I finally got round to doing it. And I wrote about Hexham Celtic heads that were supposedly cursed. I wrote about the Tower of London, things like that. The Treasurer's House is in there. And then I did one called Britain's Ghostly Heritage, which I've got here. Cover was designed by my friend Jason Figgis, the film director, and he did an intro for this. Oh, the first book, by the way, Uri Geller did the intro, and Jason Figgis did the forward. So I was quite pleased about that. And this one, for instance, has got the chapter on York. It's got about ghosts of Edinburgh Castle, Jimmy Garlick, who's a mummy in London that haunted a church. Time slips, haunted churches in London, going to St. Albans. So basically, and also Jack the Ripper. It's got about Robert Lees, who supposedly chased Jack the Ripper and caught him. And then my third ghost book, which came out this year in time for Halloween, it was actually released on Halloween. Again, covered by Jason Figgis. He did the intro. And this is, again, all stories from across the UK, but I've also included premonitions of the Titanic disaster.
Oh, wow.
Glam's Castle's in there, Hellfire Corner, which is Dover, Brown Lady Raynham Hall, and Holy Trinity Church in Micklegate is there. I've briefly touched on that. Ghosts of Dunwich, which is a little town in Suffolk. Incidentally, I was in a film called The Ghost of Winifred Meeks that was filmed in Dunwich, very M.R. James, and I played the landlord, acting as well. So anyway, they're all available on Amazon.
Awesome.
And that's my third one. And mainly British ghost stories, although there is a couple of Irish stories in there as well. But Ireland's technically part of the British Isles, so there you go.
Nice. Okay, well, we'll definitely link that below so you guys can go check out his books. I love England. I love Europe. I mean, there's so much history there and so many different types of haunts and different things over there. And, we've been lucky enough to visit Scotland and Ireland, and we've never actually stayed in England for very long. We flew in, but we didn't get to stay. So there's just so many places that I'd love to check out. And maybe if we come out there one of these days, we'll have to come by and say hi to you, have you give us a tour of the place, because there's just so many places that I want to check out there. So anyways, we're running out of time, but I want to thank you very much, John West, guys. Thank you very much for being on the podcast with us. Psychic News Magazine writer, and also medium and an author and an actor. So definitely go check out.
Well, I'm a tarot reader. I'm not a I wouldn't call myself a medium. I do a bit of tarot reading. So as opposed to, I don't contact spirits and things like that. I don't channel people or anything.
We'll make it easy. Paranormal investigator. Fellow paranormal investigator. So yeah, definitely very cool. He has a lot of stories and cool things to say. So we'll have to have you back on sometime. But again,
great. Brilliant. Look forward to it.
So we appreciate you coming all the way from England. I know it's late there, so we'll let you go.
That's fine.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Enjoyed it very much.